functional literacy among our learners. And the fourth one is targeted intervention program. Of course, we all know the ARAL program, which is spearheaded by our beloved chair, is to provide structured literacy and numeracy recovery for struggling learners from grades 1 to 10. Then, of course, we have the learning camp that offer intervention for consolidation and enrichment activity that reinforce comprehension and higher order thinking skills. The 2024 plan's finding reaffirms a fundamental truth. Basic literacy is not enough. For education to truly transform lives, we must focus on ensuring that learners' comprehension critically engage with and apply knowledge. Functional literacy is the bridge between education and empowerment. It equips learners to think independently, solve real-world problems, and actively contribute to society. BLD, therefore, have the following strategic direction. The first one is strengthen comprehension-centered teaching across all learning areas. The next is sustain and expand early grade intervention to build a strong foundation. The third one is to localize teaching and learning resources to enhance relevance and inclusivity. The fourth one is to institutionalize functional literacy benchmark within curriculum and assessment practices. And the last one is foster a culture of collaborative expertise within schools, ensuring that improvements are systematic, data-driven, and sustainable. We believe that functional literacy is not merely a skill. It is a right, gateway to individual empowerment and national development. Through these collective actions, we aim to bridge the gap from basic to functional literacy, ensuring that every Filipino learner is prepared not just to succeed in school, but to thrive in life.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. For the Bureau of Alternative Learning System, which is the focal person implementing the alternative learning system, based on the data, there's an increasing number of learners under the basic literacy program. Same with accreditation and equivalency program. Given the result, the survey result, the Bureau of Alternative Learning System, Alternative Education recognizes the important need to intensify efforts in delivering the basic literacy program and the accreditation and equivalency program, specifically to the marginalized sectors who lack access to basic education system and for whom ALS is the only option for completing basic education. Mr. Chair, the next slide will show the ongoing initiatives of the Bureau of Alternative Education as mandated by Republic Act 11510. First is the enhancement of the mapping. We are currently enhancing the mapping form, ALS Form 1, to include the learners with disabilities and other groups of learners. Of course, we will use the data from the PSA. Next is there's an ongoing pilot implementation of the functional education and literacy program, which we think it will encourage more learners out of school to join or enroll in the alternative learning system. Third is we are currently crafting the complementarity framework between alternative learning system and formal school system, which will allow the learners to seamlessly move from formal system to alternative learning system or vice versa. And currently, there's ongoing construction of school-based learning centers for alternative learning system. Currently, we have 8 learning centers being constructed, Mr. Chair. Thank you. That's for the Bureau of Alternative Education.
Mr. Chair, on the part of the operations team that focuses on learner support services to aid in improving the literacy of our learners, following the guidance of Secretary Sunny to really delve into the data and conduct substantial analytics to see how we can improve outcomes, we have been able to, for the very first time, establish a correlation between support programs such as the school-based feeding program and learning outcomes. And to probably provide insight as to the process, we cross-referenced our data points using the comprehensive rapid literacy assessment and the outcomes of our school-based feeding program, because both of these data points have a before and an after component, thus increasing our confidence in the outcomes. And at the same time, we took into consideration following cohorts in order to ensure that there is a comparison. And following that analysis, and Mr. Chair, I'd like to provide a caveat that this still only focuses on a regional level analysis. We do hope to go to a school level analysis as we get more robust data from our field offices. But following the general trend, we have been able to establish a moderate correlation between our school-based feeding program outcomes and the literacy of particular regions, meaning those that showed the highest improvement in terms of the reduction in malnutrition, those also showed the highest increases in terms of literacy within a single academic year. And we did take note that in general, the trend is that it affected the severely wasted learners more than the wasted learners. However, as mentioned, we conducted analysis following two different cohorts. Next slide, please. That looks into the outcomes before and at the end of the school year. So if we will look at the correlation, the strength of correlation between support programs like a school-based feeding program and the literacy rate decreases as you go higher in age brackets, further reinforcing the analysis that's already being discussed in EDCOM 2, that we need to invest in early years education and early years intervention, because feeding programs, for example, that go higher might have limited impact already in terms of the literacy outcomes, just specifically. And in terms of impact on learning by grade level, we did take note that the grade 1 learners followed the trend wherein the severely wasted learners manifested greater improvements in terms of literacy than wasted learners. But when they go to grade 2, it's only the wasted learners that are showing sensitivity to school-based feeding program in terms of improvement in literacy. So these are just some of the things that the Department of Education is working on to improve literacy outcomes beyond the curriculum and teaching component and in classroom interventions. Mr. Chair, for the guidance and reference of the body. Thank you.
Yan po ang ulat ng DepEd. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you for that. I'll go back to a slide that I showed earlier. The high school number of high school graduates who are not functionally literate. We converted that into a graph. Just show it. So here. So this is the same number as the PSA table earlier. Now we just converted it into a graph form, so it's can be easily visualized. If you look at the 2024 figure, there are 18 million students who the PSA detected that are senior high school that are high school graduates and junior high school graduates but are not functionally literate. So meaning they graduated from our basic education system, but they cannot read, they cannot understand and comprehend a simple story. That should not happen. The very basic goal of basic education is to become functionally literate. That's non-negotiable yan eh. Non-negotiable that a student who will graduate from our basic education system should be functionally literate. But that's not the case now. No? And in our EDCOM rounds, we have detected kids as late as 15-year-olds who cannot read the simple story. Now, we've detected that. We've seen that on the ground, and I'm sure